Yes, entrepreneurship, of course, as usual. And we are still looking at preparation of business documents. And of course, we looked at the cash sales receipt as our last document. Today, we are looking at the letter of inquiry. Today, we are looking at the letter of inquiry. What does it mean? When we look at its definition, we define by saying is a document that is issued, or you can say is sent by the buyer, or you can call him or her a customer, or you can say by a client to the seller, or you can call this person a supplier, inquiring or asking to know about different things. But here we say about, you can mention some, about prices, discounts offered, delivery dates, terms and conditions, terms and means of payment, among others. Call it ETC. Is a document that is issued or sent by the buyer or sent by the customer or sent by a business client to the seller, meaning this buyer is sending this document to the seller or a supplier. And of course, when you are sending this document, you want to know what you don't know. You want to know about some things. That's why we said asking you to know about prices, discounts, among others. Why are you sending this? Because you don't know the prices at which goods are bought. You don't know the discounts that this supplier offers. You don't know the delivery dates, that when you order for the goods, for how long does it take for you to receive the goods? That's the lead time. You want to know the terms and conditions, which penalty if you don't pay in time or if you don't pick your goods, you understand? Then terms and means of payment. How does the supplier want you to pay? Does he want you to pay by cash only, by check? Does he allow credit terms or installment selling or purchasing? So you are trying to inquire about things. That's why we call it a letter of inquiry. Who is inquiring? Who is asking? The one who is asking is the person who wants to buy, is a customer. And what is he asking you to know? He stipulates it in this letter. He puts it in this letter. He makes sure that this letter has gotten all the questions that he or she would want to put up, that he or she would like to know. This is what referred to be the letter of inquiry. Inquiring means asking what you don't know. That's why in debates we say, point of inquiry. Is it in order for the pre-current speaker to speak while dancing? You want to know whether it is in order. You want to know whether it is applicable. Therefore, in business, in buying and selling, we are trying to say you are a buyer and you want to know more about the other business from which you want to buy the goods. That is what we refer to be the letter of inquiry. The letter of inquiry. You are inquiring. Then after understanding this, the question is, who sends the letter now? Who writes a letter? Who writes this letter? And the answer is a buyer writes a letter of inquiry. Why? Because it is him who wants to know what he doesn't know. Then, who receives this letter? The answer is that a supplier or a seller receives a letter of inquiry. Then another question, who responds to these questions? Who responds to the questions? And the question is, still it is a seller who responds to the questions in the letter of inquiry. I hope we are together there. Because these questions need to be answered. They need to be answered. Definition, it is issued. Who is issuing? By the one who writes. The one who issues out. Who receives it? Sent back to the seller. It means the person to whom it is going is the one who receives. That's why we're saying a supplier or a seller receives a letter of inquiry. Then, who responds to the questions? Because all these questions which are stipulated in here need responses. They need to be responded to. They need answers. Now, who gives those answers? It is a seller who responds, or a seller responds to the questions in the letter of inquiry. Is it okay? A seller is the one who responds. A person from whom goods are to be bought is the one who responds to this letter of inquiry. Now, after that, we want to see. We have known the definition, we have known who writes it or who sends it, we have known who responds to it, who receives it, at the same time we have known who responds to it. Now, what are the components of this letter? What are the components of this letter? So now we're going to look at the components of the letter of inquiry. Components of the letter of inquiry. The first component, as we said, all business documents need to have components. Components. And one of them, we said, the compulsory one is the heading, or you can call it the opening statement for this. after knowing that, we have gotten another component we are referring to be the name and address of the buyer or the customer. Then we have got another component we call the telephone number of the customer. We've got another component we call the logo. We've got another component we call the name of the document. The name of what we are designing or preparing. Then I've got another document, the date. Then I've got another document, the document number. For this case, it is inquiry letter number. Then we've got the name and address of the supplier. The name and address of the supplier. Then we have got the appealing word or explanation statement, like for example, please quote us with. Then we have got another we call the item number. We have got another we call the quantity. We've got another component we call the description of goods. Then we have gotten another component we call the name, signature, and the title of the sender. Then I've got name, signature, and title of the receiver. These are the major components of the letter of inquiry. The major components of the letter of inquiry. So, for this matter, therefore, we said all these, they appear to be the same, but they're not the same because they apply in different documents. But if you are to pass these document questions, preparation and designing of these business documents very well, you have to master and you necessarily you cram and say, please, every document must have the heading. This is a must. Every document has the name and address of the business. This is a must. The telephone number is also there. This is a must. Then the logo is also a must. Then the name of the document is also a must. The date is also a must. The document number is also a must. Name and address of another business is also a must depending on the document that you are writing. Then these ones work on the table, the item, one description, then name, sign, and the rest. So these are a must. So if you are to earn good marks, first of all, understanding the components. After understanding the components, then you can use the components in designing and in preparing of these documents. We are going to have a break, and when we come, we are going to look at the designing and preparation of the letter of inquiry. But before that, you may ask yourself, why didn't we put here the unit cost and the total cost? It is because they are not applicable here. We are inquiring to know the prices. So we are not supposed to put the prices there, and yet we don't know the prices. But what we know is that we want to buy, and we know what to buy. The question is, do we know the price? No. So we shall be answered about the price later on. For us, we want to know what we don't know, but these are the key elements of the letter of inquiry. So we're going to rest a bit. When we come, we're going to look at the designing and of the letter of inquiry. See you.